computer graphics to work gesturally, you have to break it. It's not what the software was designed to do, as I was mentioning before the break, I think. The softwares are designed to do whatever is the agenda of the software company thinks that they have a market for people who want to touch up photographs or people who want to make simulations of outer space or war or medical operations, and then ultimately Pixar animations, right? Cartoon animations that are meant for children because of their illustrational quality, right?
Yeah.
And so to get a glitch in the original definition of the community of glitch people, which happened to come out of Chicago, so I'm not a glitch artist, but I do know them, was based on the idea of the aesthetic of gestural abstract painting. So if you break the software to do what it's not supposed to do, then it sort of blows up, it explodes. And that explosion is more like abstract painting. So glitch is based on the idea of gestural, expressive, personal abstract painting. And when you say Medusa was a glitch in reverse, you're exactly right, because what I did was that I made this head that was sort of glitching and floating. And then I tried to put a narrative into that. So the head was sort of floating like a dead head in a seance, like a 19th century seance, romantic calling of the dead, the idea of the liminal space of the halfway world of ritual, where you have people in the living world connecting to people who are in the spirit world, or the dead world, or heaven, or whatever the culture identifies. It's actually an anthropological term. And so I then reverse engineered it. I did do that. I made the thing. It was based on faking a glitch, augmented reality, the way it glitches things when it tries to bring a photo in the world through the internet. And because the internet, like, you can't appear as an image because you don't have the power in your internet at home. When you use an augmented app in anywhere, it has to squeeze through the cloud. Information goes up to the cloud, onto the platform, and then is beamed back into somebody's phone who has an app that's part of, that is a platform. And that makes the head bob up and down. And then I thought, oh, it looks like a seance or a vision or a liminal space. And then I made the old movie look of me coming out of a dream because it evoked that. So I feel that virtual reality evokes certain kinds of subject matters very, very well. Virtual, 3D animation, augmented reality, and headset VR is very much like being in a seance, a halfway space, because it has aspects of realism and aspects of illustration and obviously not photographic. It's not photographic. It has aspects of the natural because it uses big data and crunches information to make an image. So it has a sense of gravity or the way light reflects, etc. But it is actually not a photograph. It's obvious. It looks like an illustration, and that makes it uncanny. And that uncanniness is like the liminal halfway space between. That's what Freud made up when he said unheimlich was supposed to be a space between life and death, or a repressed memory that was returning, or a dream that comes back and you think it's real. You can't tell the difference between your dreams and the real. And that's uncanny. And virtual reality software is uncanny. So, are you there, Kelly, still? Feel like I lost Kelly again. Yes, I did. No, Kelly. So I'm going to keep going. I feel like Kelly's computer freezes. Um, so, with that in mind, when Kelly asked me to make a talk about my technology to explain how I use it in this glitchy, expressive way, and he wanted me to show how I made the piece. As I mentioned, I couldn't make it because none of the technology existed anymore. So I thought, oh, how interesting. Here's me coming back to a thing I first made in 2010, and it's now about to be 2014, and I'm older, and so this is me as 15 years older dealing with imagery about death or a seance or the uncanny as an older person. And I have physically aged a lot, only because that's what happens. But although I only made that piece that we were looking at before, and now I'm going to introduce the newer version. I only made it 14 years ago, I think. And so I was pretty old when I made it, so I was 54. But I managed to hang in there, preserving my youth like pretty long, and then it like hits you or somewhere. And so it was dramatic and scary to me to look how old I look now compared to when I made it then. So I made a new work, and now we're going to share screens again so I can show you the newer work, and then I'm going to walk you through how I made it. So here we go. Share content. No, we don't want to do that. Share content. Video. Slide. Oh no. Seems like I can't share content anymore. Share screen. That's what we want to do. Okay. So I'm going to go back to videos on Vimeo. And I hope you can see this. Somebody should tell me if you can. Screen tab. Close that. Can you see this, folks? Somebody tell me whether you see the share. Switch screen. You're sharing your screen. I hear you both. Well, I'm just going to assume that you can see it because there's nothing else I can do. So I'm going to show you the more recent. I'm just going to plow through this because it's also being recorded, so it will end up as a nice story in the video. So I'm scrolling up, and I made this newer version, which I couldn't really do. Share this. So here is what I made. Audio. Oh no, the other one had audio. So for this one, I don't know if you can hear the audio. What I did is, you see there's a head, and then there's this with the hair going straight up, and there's the sweeping, that's her nose. And then I projected me much bigger over the top of the whole thing. I think the reason I did that was when I made the model, and I'm soon going to show you how I made it. Um, when I made the model, what I found, I'm going to go to school. What I found was that it came out. I made a head, and using software, which I will soon show you, but I just want to describe this, um, that allows you to age, to create a character that you can then age using the software. So I did that, and then I took that age character and manipulated it further. And um, so the old woman, um, who was called, believe it or not, Claudia by the software, probably because I own the license. I took that aged woman and pulled hair out of her and made her animate so she was slowly moving and all that. And she looked to me like a death head. It looked more like the kind of mask of when people die. It looked like a dead person. It looked like my mother when she died. And that was sort of frightening to me. And it was also not beautiful. The earlier software, where I used another software called ZBrush and a preset model that I had I pulled the hair out, and I used this tool called ZBrush, which was for making skins for monsters, and it projected textures onto things, and then made the textures appear like as if you're putting pebbles all over a beautiful face. It keeps the original model, it preserves it. So my young model still looks young and beautiful. To me, that earlier model looks like a character frozen in time by lava. It was like Pompeii or something, where a beautiful young woman had lava poured all over her and was frozen in time as a piece of sculpture. Whereas this looks like a death mask made by making a cast of an actual dead person who was older. And so I added to that. I was thinking more about Tony Osler, and instead of making a thing of beauty, I was interested in the kind of distortion. So I took another video of me now and projected it over the whole thing and mapped it onto the face. Where it glitches is when the eyes open. I think sound up to it, and I did it at a particular moment in the animation where it fits. It's actually where the loop is. I was forced to make a short loop, and I put that at a jog in the animation. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm going to go back to here. You can see the Vimeo library. So did we lose Kelly Bandana? I think Kelly is no longer with us. So what I now want to do is actually walk you through the process of the software. And then the idea was that afterwards, Kelly was going to be able to ask me questions. Bandana, maybe you should, because we'll take another break after I give you the software demo. And then we could look at other work and talk about the themes in my work that are related to this Medusa, but manifest themselves in many, many different kinds of imagery. So let's see what happens with the first thing that I want to do, which is I'm going to go to first I'm going to go to Maya. Hopefully Maya is open. Let's see if it is. I'm not going to do anything with this until I see whether my Maya is open. Which it looks like it's not. Maya, are you open? No. Alright, so I'm going to open Maya 2023. And I'm going to show you both the augmented preset software that I use and the way of making stuff in Maya.
Can you hear me?
Now you're back.
Excellent. Yeah, I heard everything you were saying and saw the images.
Did it freeze again?
No, I just went to my phone.
Oh, the phone is back. So now you're on your phone.
No, now I'm back on the computer.
Oh, okay, cool. So
sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. It's like you can't scare me. I have done so many things for everything is disastrous. Alright, so here Medusa has mapped. I don't know where it is. Couldn't find a file. Alright, so I have to set this up again. I think it must be here. And now I should be able to. We want to go to this other. That you should be able to open. Hopefully it's plugged in. No, it's not. Alright, so I put everything. Here we have the lake Medusa. And here we have the snow from Medusa, the Medusa head. And here, look, ancient Medusa texture rot. No, that's in images. So are you seeing all this? No, you're not. Boy, I think I should go back to sharing because it's sort of interesting to watch me even navigate this stuff. Welcome to my planet and seeing how technology, how rationalist it is, how horribly rationalist. All right, so I'm now going to go and to make romantic imagery. It's really against its religion. This very rationalist, highly detailed kinds of software that I use to do VR stuff is considered the most complex and difficult software basically that there is. So we're not seeing Maya. Oh, window. Oh, here we go. Alright, are you seeing this?
Yep.
You're seeing this, the software. Alright, cool. So I want to go and open, I have to go to the project, wherever that is. And it's called the Lake Medusa, I believe. Yes. So we're setting the project, create default work. And now we're in it. Doesn't mean it's seeing this. So I want to go in there and you see it, Lake Medusa. And see, it's not behaving properly. It's supposed to actually bring me exactly there. And it's not behaving properly at all. Alright, I'm going to do it in a different way, folks. So instead, I'm going to go directly to my computer, to the file. And then I'm going to go into that hard drive. And then I'm going to go into the directory in the hard drive. And then I'm going to go into Medusa head seek. And then I'm going to go into, let's see, is there another subdirectory now? Scenes. And there, yes, I found it. Medusa head 4, projection map. And that was made render blah blah blah. So here we have it. Oh my god. And I'm going to click on it. And do you see this?
Yeah.
It's getting there. So now I have to alert the software.
Oh, like you get permission?
Well, do you see my Maya software? No.
No.
All right, so I'm going to go here. Share screen. And scroll down. And select the tab to share. Oh, no. A window. Here. All right, so now we can do it. All right, now do you see it?
Yeah, we see the window, and it's loading. Yes.
Okay, so this thing that we're looking at, oh goodness, I didn't even want to go here. This is the old, but it's good to see. Here, I can find the other one, but hopefully now it'll go bring me there. This is the old Medusa head that you liked, and I rendered it as an image because I also made it as a print on paper, so I put this thing, this plane over here. I'm going to hide that. So this was the original Medusa model that I made for Seek in 2010. And it's sitting inside a lighting dome. That's that black thing. And here it looks as a wireframe from the top, and here it is as a wireframe. It has a simple shader. There you see this lighting dome, and there you see her. Okay, hit the space bar. We're in this main render view. So she was made by taking a head that I got from a software that probably still exists, but it's sort of awful. That's called Poser. It was a commercial software where you can get preset characters that architects use in architectural models. And I used the preset to try to make her I tried to make an interracial character that was, I don't think I succeeded, but it's hard to tell, where her eyes were closed. And then this part that looks like lava is pouring on her was actually made with another software. I brought it into another software where I could put like bumps on her as if it was a slide being projected. And then I grabbed her head and pulled the hair and geometry out of it. Wait, let's see. I have another head. There's Medusa. So that, I didn't mean to open it, but that's the new one. I mean the old one.
Old one.
Like
What's the program?
The program is called Maya.
Maya, okay.
And guess what that means? The art of illusion. And so it was all, Maya took that. It actually came out of Canada. It had a different name in those days. Because I'm old, so I don't even remember the name of it when I first started using it. It was made for industrial designers to make objects of design. And then Pixar adapted it, the original software, which has some other name, to be Maya, to make Pixar movies. They owned it. And it was then called Maya, the art of illusion. And so I started using this software before it was Maya and had the other name. It was 27 years ago, and I can't remember names, even my own software. But part of the reason why you said I glitch things or I'm using it at the edge is this is such, you can even tell by looking at this. Let me open the more recent one. So let's see. Okay. Great Medusa. this is all this stuff, so it's gotta be in here somewhere. Can you see all this?
Yeah.
So this is,
Are the folders various codes or images?
each folder contains data. When you make, this is good that you're asking all this, but Medusa had 4, so that must be still, where is it? No. Oh, by the way, this should be really easy. Here you can see, that's before she was bumped. And I took her, is that this one? Oh no, that's the new one. Ah, wow, at least we found it. All right, Medusa 2. So this, it does look sort of like me. So this is the more recent one. It looks very different, right?
Yeah.
All right, so for this one, I took, and I will show you how I did it. Hopefully I can find it. And I used Maya. The earlier software was called Poser, and it was made preset, all very cute and usually very white. Not just white, blonde. Characters for architects to put into their into models. Later, they developed racial qualities, so you could like make the characters leaning into one race or another or age them. It was so incredibly racist that it was almost comical, and my students would do such crazy things with the old Poser. Then Poser sort of won out, and Maya got its own version of a character creator. And that's what I use to do this. See, it's hollow on the inside. That's its mouth.
Okay. It looks polished.
It looks polished because of the shader that's on it. So
okay.
That's, if I actually assign existing material, this is the default. That's what the default sort of, more like a basic material without any shine or anything. So I made that by taking a character within the character designer that's part of the Maya software, which I hope I can find. This thing is so goddamn big. I made it look sort of like me, and I aged it, and I pulled the hair out of her head. Let's see if I have an earlier version. So, oh yeah, so this is Medusa 2. So the Medusa 2, Medusa 1 was the girl. And, so here's, alright, so Medusa had 2 maps, and these are when they crashed, and they make these extra numbers, they crash very easily. And here, I'm going to just say bumped and rotted. Wait, what is this one called? This one's called Just Head. And Just Head. Alright, so here. Then I did this to her. So,
and those are the bumps you were referring to.
Yes, you can paint on it with texture.
Okay.
Wait, maybe I can even do that. You see, I make the mesh very, very fine. I can multiply the mesh so it gets very small. And then I can use these kind of sculpting tools. Wait, let's go back to the other one so you can watch me do it. I wanted to show you the character generator, and I can definitely find it, but let's go back to Just Head. Is that Just Head 3? Yeah, that. So you notice that has a grid. It's very small, the grid, but to get detailed bumps, I actually have to make the grid even smaller. I'm going to do that. And that's called smoothing. So mesh and smooth. And I ask for the option box, which is the menu. And here, I just want you to see how complicated. This is one tiny tool in a land of millions of tools. So that's why what I was also trying to say is it's incredibly detailed and technological. And I was talking about this with my husband last night, that these kind of very sophisticated technologies only become expressive when you know how to do them. It's almost like an old person. We're all like Rembrandt. Because it takes 10 years or so, maybe. I mean, I've been doing it for 27 or 8 years, so it's like second nature. Like, if I try to trace my tracks, like now, you notice I don't remember? It's not just because I'm old, it's because I'm in the flow when I do it. And it's almost like I'm taking clay in an automatic way. And to get to this point, my skills are so through the roof at this point, on every level of 3Dness, that I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, how did I do that? What was I doing when I do it? I don't really think anymore.
It's just natural. It's just natural.
It's just like I'm with a paintbrush or a clay person who's pulling things out of clay. It became natural, and the expressiveness comes when you can go from your unconscious into it, or if you're not afraid to make a mistake. Glitch. Glitch means you just do it as if with the flow, instead of thinking, how do I make a thing look like it's rotting? I don't have to think that because I've been doing it so long. I just think, oh, I'll make it rot, and then I do it and I don't know how I did it. So here, I'm going to say smooth. So look at how much definition that thing now has, right? It's a tiny grid. Now I'm going to take that and I want to sculpt it with these sculpting tools that are on my desktop over there. So we have all kinds of tools. Every menu has a different kind of tool set, and every tool set has a giant menu with detailed instructions, like you just saw, right? So in order to, I have to clear the action, or I made it get smooth with a lot. Here, division. One division, but I'm afraid to, if I say 0, I'm afraid I'm going to crash it.
Right.
That was what it was when I found it. And now, if I say 1, that's what I made it into, right? And now, it still sits on here as a little history note. I have to get rid of the history, edit, delete my type history. And everything has these giant menus. That's what I want you to understand. It's like nothing isn't considered in detail. And to get to the point where you're surfing it and you can just think, like, I want it to look funky and corroded and old. And I'm thinking more, what does old look like? I'm not thinking, where's the button?
Right.
And so there's 2 billion buttons in there. It's not like Photoshop. Well, Photoshop got very complicated also. Alright, so here, delete by type, all. So I get rid of the history and that little menu down there. So now it's permanently with this tiny mesh. And now I'm going to use some kind of sculpting tool. Softly lift this. Wait, which one's good? Paint areas to prevent. No, we don't want that. Accentuate, inflate an area. That's always good. Wait, is it one of these? Stamp a pattern. That looks good. randomly spray a stamp imprint on a surface. I don't know if I did this or I did that. Wait, what's it? Softly lift. No, we don't like that. This is a stamp, I think. Oh, that's flattening, leveling. This you pull something. Pull a single vertex. That's how I made the hair. The head was round, and I took a vertex and pulled it. And then I wiggled them around and pressed them and sculpted them with another tool to make them look like it was being lifted. But it was all a round bald head. And then I'm going to try these. I don't remember which. Randomly spray. Well, let's just try this. Okay. So here's the tool. So I double click on it, and then I get another giant menu. And then stylus. That's the size of it. Wait. Mini brush. Oh, I have to select. Did I select the head? Was the head selected? No. All right, I'm going to go out. I have to select the head first. And now I've activated it. Oh, yeah, I didn't select the head first. So here, that's the size of my brush. The ball over there. And if I press the letter B, I can make the brush bigger or smaller. Wait a minute. It's not working. Okay, yes it is. So there, I press the letter B for brush and I can make it bigger or smaller. So I sort of think, I don't know, like maybe this. And then, so that's cool, that's that. And now I want to go back into the tool and see, that's, am I in the right tool? Yeah, this is the size, how the bump works. It's going to be like a low thing or an indent thing or an outfit thing. And now I also want to, maybe this isn't a big tool, because I don't see any stamps that are of interest. Let's see what it does. Oh. See what it did?
Oh, yeah.
So, if I want to put bumps all over it, like I did with the other head, but it doesn't lend itself to bumps the way the other software did. But I'll leave those in. But let's say I don't like the indent, so I'm going to smooth it. Wait, I think I smooth it.
Claudia, how much would this program cost? Like just approximately, like what?
Well, I don't pay for it because I'm not a professor anymore. I'm an emeritus, so I get it for free. But
Oh, that's wonderful.
yes, but it costs I don't remember whether it was $3,000 or $2,000 because I haven't paid for it in so long. There's another. This is the standard industry, entertainment industry. So wait, is this? This is the smooth brush. The strength is very tiny, 2.9. So if I want it to be powerfully smoothing, and I want to fix this, see how it's taking it out over on this sheet. All right. So now what I want to do is this is spraying, stamp, stylus, display. Aha, good. So this is better. The other one had a stamp too, but I'm going to spray this. And these are photographs of textures. So I can pick one and spray this so that it comes like a bump, which is what I did. So let's see. Let's do gravel or how about mud? You like mud?
That sounds good.
So there's mud. Orient to stroke. Just horizontal here. Do you want it to be random? Okay. Here's the size of the bump. It's coming out and it's pretty high. Let's say we want it to come out and not. Here's a bump that comes out and has a sharp edge. This one is algorithmically just, gradual. maybe this one's good. Let's do this one. And is there anything else? Oh, the strength is 15%. I'm going to make this menu a little smaller. I'm going to put this and minimize it so it's not in the way. And now, this strength is tiny, so we'll just see what it's. Oh! That's nice. But it seems to be too strong for my taste. So Z is undo. So did I undo it? Oh, this thing popped up. You never know what they're going to do. That I got rid of. So 15 strength seems too small. It's average normal direction. That means whatever perpendicular is of this surface, which is curved, at any one moment, it will be perpendicular to whatever the curved surface is. I mean, can you believe how technical this is?
No.
So you internalize this, so it's just like, do I want it to be perpendicular to the surface, or do I want it to move in the y direction, or the x, or the whatever? But it's like I don't want to explain to you what those mean because we could spend a lot of time on it. All right, that was big. So I'm going to Z back as undo. I wish I could Z right. And I'm going to make it linear. That was good. Maybe it's not big enough, but it's cumulative. So it makes a kind of nice rock.
And does the mud color come into play at some point, or
No.
not? Just to show you.
That's another thing. It's just showing you.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So. And that was good where we pulled that stuff up before. That was good. And now let's go do something else just for the fun of it. Stamp. Reach. Let's just do something more subtle, maybe. Who the hell knows what this computer thinks is subtle?
Yeah.
But anyway, the build up. That's how much you can build as you do repetitive. Oh, is it doing anything? No, I think I have to increase the build up. Okay. That's sort of more, I sort of like that better anyway. Now, what's interesting is, compared to my beautiful young woman from before, when you add this kind of rot to an older face, it's scary, right? And so it becomes another thing.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
And would you print this out on paper and have it as a paper piece as well?
Yeah, I can do whatever I want.
Okay.
I mean, wait, let me just go out of the tool now by hitting this. All right. Now, you asked me, can I do it on paper? So I'm known as what they now call digital. I hate that word, but that means that I would call myself a mixed reality artist, and that's because I was, showing work as a painter and sculptor and photos, and I did what was called intermedia in my day. I showed for 12 years before I started with the technology, and my students at the Art Institute, because we don't have majors, at least the undergrads and the grads can go wherever they want, even though they're located in a department, all make things and use technology. For the most part, people who come into the technology space are not coming from art school. They often went to design school or the design department, and um, or they went to engineering schools. I taught at um, Brooklyn Poly, and I taught at RPI before I landed at Sarah Lawrence, which was a humanities-oriented school, and then the Art Institute, which I jumped on because I could talk to artists, and my way of thinking and the way of an engineer thinks is so different that it was very hard. It wasn't that I couldn't teach them, which I could, but the idea that you wanted to not follow the rules and make the thing break so that it could have mistakes, so that it was not perfect, and that perfectism wasn't the goal, was liberating for engineering people because it allowed them to. It was like teaching creativity, but it's different with people who just assume that because that's the culture they come from. And so for me, I went into the art context where it was I had to invent different ways of teaching, um, but because artists don't do things in a step by step way. In fact, personally speaking, I get very upset when I have to do a tutorial, and I don't do that. I start by making mistakes because my brain gets upset when it tries to follow things in order, and my brain doesn't like it. So, but that's sort of normal, isn't it? For artists.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So, I figured out other ways of doing it that was based on the way nature works. Like, oh, you want to know how to use this most advanced tool that there is? Look out the window. But for artists, they were like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. But if it was technologists, they were like, well, what's the system of the designer? So it's just a different way of thinking. So anyway, going back, we make the head, and then I have to simplify the head in order to bring it into, so I'll do that too. So this is sort of, I'm going to put it as the non-shiny, so the shiny is the sign. I right mouse button over the head, I get another menu with 12 million things. And I'm going to give it a new material, and I'm giving it Lambert, which is the most basic, no reflection, bland. It's sort of like felt. So there it is in felt. And now what I'm going to do is allow you to see wireframe unshaded so that you can see the grid is incredible. Now I'm going to delete the history, edit, delete all by type because I'm going to start a new story which is reducing it. If I want to bring this into an augmented reality software, I would like to show you the other tool before I do that, but just to let you know and so you can watch me do this. This has a very fine mesh. Augmented reality or anything that's delivered through an app over the internet has to be very lightweight. The mesh has to be very little information. If you look at this thing, a vertex exists at every cross point on the mesh. See, there's so many goddamn vertices that it looks solid. This will never squeeze through the pipe that goes up to the cloud and back down again. So in order to make something that works in augmented, which is where I got the glitch that you said, oh, it looked like I reverse engineered the glitch. I did, because I then had to take a complex piece of geometry like this, where I got all this detail, and make it light enough, a light enough grid that it could squeeze up and down. Also, it is sort of uncanny how, like, the other head was like a beautiful girl frozen by Pompeii, and this head, once I started with a more detailed aged head, does not look, it really is like a death mask, and it's much more disturbing, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe only to me, because I'm old. But you're old too.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
Yes. So I took this out, and now I took out the history so I could start another tool. And I go here, mesh, reduce, ask for the menu, the option box. I'm going to close these other menus. And just reducing, right? Horrible. I'm going to keep the original. That isn't on by default. But I want you to see both of them once I make the new one. And I'm going to make this 75% of the original. Preserved quads means a square rational grid. Games like triangular grids, animation like square grids. Preserve the sharpness, that means the detail. I made this randomly before because I figured sort of sharp, but not too sharp. Because otherwise I can't generalize it enough. I'll start at 75%. So I say apply. Oh, I didn't select it. So I have to select the geometry and I say apply. Now it's thinking. It's a lot of thinking. It could crash now. But it didn't.
Wow.
Alright, so here's the old head. And here's the new one. The new one doesn't have the detail. It's more generalized. But it's probably still too detailed. So if I select the head, I still, because I didn't delete history, it has the number of everything, right? And triangles and vertex numbers, these matter. You need to know that if you're bringing something into a game or up to the internet. I need to know the vertex count. I'm not going to bother with that now. I just want to show you if I make it 50% of the original, not of the original size, of what it is, yes, of the original model on the right, then it recalculates, and it does a pretty good job of maintaining it because Maya has a great reduction, what I would call reduction node. All the different softwares do things differently, and they have their strong points and weak points. And normally I would use what's called a shrink wrapper to close all the holes and make it a more regular geometry. If I was going to make a print out of it, I would have to shrink wrap it. But I'm not, and so you were asking, would I make a print? Would I make a sculpture? Would I make an animation?
Yeah.
All of these things have technical requirements, but they also have aesthetic requirements. So what I want to do when I make a black and white image on paper that refers to a drawing is different from what I want to do if I'm doing something in color that refers to cinema. And when I want to make something look like it's 19th century, then I use a shader that looks like a sepia color, which is what I did. Or I took a movie and used that as the shader. We can move on to that, but let me just show you how far you can go with this. So this is at 50. What happens if I make it 20%? Still looks pretty good. Yeah. And the poly count, if we look up here, it's faces that you really care about. So this is how many faces in the space, but this object has 236,532 faces. Ooh. This guy has 188, but still high, right? If I was going to make it, sometimes when I do these and I want to bring them into a augmented space, I might do 5%. 0.0, let's say 8. What's 0.08? What's that? Wait a minute. Did I make it bigger? It doesn't seem to have responded correctly. Did it glitch? Oh, it didn't respond correctly. Oh, because that's 8%. It's not understanding the point. So let's make 1%. Oh no, it glitched. Always good to see. Oh no, now it's going to crash.
Oh,
Let's just let it crash.
okay.
Oh no, it didn't. Oh, whoa. So that is 1% of the original vertices of this head. That's amazing. Yeah. So let's go back to percentage and make it 100. Oh yeah, that's 1. So it went back. Oh, I see what it did. It started making 100%. Yeah, I glitched it out. Ooh. All right, so I did screw it up. But I don't care because I have the original one. So let's just move on because what I'd like to do now is actually show you um, the shader one with the texture on it, with the movie on it.
That'd be great. Yeah.
So this is bumped and knotted, and this is protection mask. You might have trouble finding it. Oh, and there's nothing in there. I think I crashed it. Sometimes when you go too far with calculations, you have to back things up on many times over because sometimes it just deletes a file, gets so upset. So let's see, it must be in here. Oh no, it's just this is two. Oh, interesting. It emptied both of them. Wait, let's go into this one. Maybe I just did that. Yeah, it did just do that. I destroyed it. So here's this, and in order to be able to, well, that's the original one that I brought into a shrink wrapping software. Look at how different it is. I always do things very methodically in case I do want to use them for different outputs.
For sure.
So what I did is I brought it into what's called a shrink wrapping software. I reduced the number. I closed it so it's what's called airtight. And then I see how it's all sealed up. I triangulated it, which is what they like in game software, and in augmented softwares. And the inside of the mouth is even like a bag inside of its mouth. And I made it low enough that I could actually bring it into some other software, and it turned it into triangles. I'm not sure if there's a texture on this one. No, there's not. Or it just doesn't know where it's in, so sometimes it can't find the texture. So I'm going to say set project, and we're going to go into Lake Medusa. Oh. And that means open scene, and you see this? No. We have to maybe go into this one. Let's just see. I think this is where I was. That's what I mean. I don't know where I am most of the time. Oh yeah, this is where I was. So we have to set the project so it can find. It has to know where it is in the computer, or you cannot find things like a texture, the movie that was on this. So set project. So it's not just that it's in Lake Medusa, but that it's in Medusa Head Seek, is the actual directory with all the subdirectories. Now I say open, and here's where we were. And now let's look Medusa Head render. I hope these are the ones. Medusa had 4, we render 2. I don't know if this is, I think this is the other head. But let's just, because I somehow killed everything. Projection map.
Do you ever write anything down, or you just go by intuition?
Oh, intuition. That's why I can't remember anything.
Yeah.
Wait. So, yeah, I actually destroyed data. How did I do that? Let's see. I have them all. I probably don't even have it back though. Wait. So let's see what this is. I think this is the young girl. Yeah, that's the young girl. So, holy moly, I actually killed this thing. So we won't see a projection map. No. Alright, so instead what I'd like to do now, close editor, is I want to see if I can find that software which is the character generator, because it's just so amazing to even see that and so uncanny. Yeah. So we're gonna go into this thing, character generator. I found it. Like when you say, I don't know where anything is, after I use it, it is intuitive. So what that means is I use it and then I don't know how I did it or where it was or anything. So here I have to log in. That's my school email account. Hopefully it still remembers me. This is the worst thing. There she is, folks. These are things that I use this character generator because I had a commission to make plays.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I should show them to you because I have them over there. But I made for a restaurant that was immersive reality, and the theme was journey. And I was looking at Leger paintings with the people leaning against bicycles, and I tried to make characters that looked like Leger. This guy really looks like a Leger. Where is it? Oh, we don't see his. Oh, here's his body. Oh, no, that's not his body. Oh no, that's all their faces. Alright, so we won't see it that way. Oh, there he is. So, I don't know where his body is. I don't want to figure it out now. Yeah. But I looked at Leger paintings and tried to make a facial type that looked like these Legers. And that's exactly what I did with this. So this was the new old Medusa. Okay. So here's her body. And here's her head. Oh, that's my best show. Right.
Oh, I see her head. I don't see her body.
Yeah, so first look at her head.
Okay.
This gives me the opportunity to edit her head.
Okay.
So this is what I made. But if I want to change, there she is. She's called Claudia. I think that's because the software is in my name, but I got really freaked out. No, could it be that her name really is Claudia? Because look, it's all these others. So if I want to change her eyes, so here's the eyes. So let's say I wanted the eyes of like David's eyes. They're sort of round, bulging eyes. Or wait, how about
bulging eyes?
I like Ashley's sad eyes.
Okay.
Why am I not going to Ashley? Oh, I see. So now I'm in Ashley's eyes, drag and drop here. See, I don't remember what I'm doing. So here's Ashley. So they start as Claudia, and I want to move it in the direction of Ashley. Right? Isn't weird. So now I'm halfway between Claudia and Ashley. Did the eyes change?
I think they did a little
They
bit.
did. They look more sad. If I want to make them holy, Ashley. Oh, they totally changed.
The program?
No, the eyes. Because
Okay.
Ashley has a more, upturned, slightly different eye. If let's say I want to make Esmeralda.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get rid of Ashley because Esmeralda's eyes are pretty dramatically different. So there we're 100% on the Claudia. Now let's move towards, see what happened? Esmeralda has serious bags. You see?
Bags?
Bags under her eyes.
Oh.
So there's extreme Esmeralda-ness.
Okay.
And there's extreme Claudia-ness. And here's halfway. And then, let's say we want to do a mouth that's different.
Okay.
So we double click on mouthness. This is the meat part. Oh, these are ears. You don't want ears. Oh no, mouth. Here's mouth. Mouthness. So let's look. Tiffany. I had a friend named Tiffany. Sophia. I want someone who has very different mouth. Oh, how about a very thin mouth. So that's Eleanor. And now then, right. See what's happening? That's Claudia. That's more Eleanor. That's in between. She got sadder, that's for sure.
Yes.
And now, what is this? Cheeks. Let's change cheeks. So you double click. Cheeks. Yeah, cheeks. So, emaciated cheeks. Do you like any set of cheeks? Leah's. Oh, this. Very dramatically, right? Very thin.
Okay.
More dramatic. So cake cheeks. Yeah, much more emaciated, right?
Yeah, her nose seemed to get thinner as well.
Yeah. So then, if we want to see the whole body, I know that's everything there. So if we want to see body, how do we do this? Oh, we go here, I bet. Yeah. So here is the Claudia body. So let's say, chest. Oh, we're waiting for that to appear.
Okay.
So the Claudia body is more athletic.
Then the older one?
No, she's got a sort of six-pack there.
Oh, okay.
That's because I was a former bodybuilder. Yeah, so I was biased in my own body. Alright, so here, Eleanor. It's thinking. It's more slow thinking.
Crevices seem to get deeper.
Yeah. See what's happening? She gets here.
Yeah.
But her head doesn't fit because I made the thin head. Well, but this is good for gravity. There's more sagginess. Wait, why don't they have any saggy bodies?
That's a good question.
Because age, it's ages. acknowledge it. They don't let gravity go in there. But I will tell you that the technology culture, because it's based on innovation, is the most ageist horror story. You don't want to be there. Well, this one has actual Esmeralda. Esmeralda has some gravity. Yeah, so tech culture, they don't allow old people in there. The only reason I get to show is that I have all this army of former students who don't allow me to be ignored.
That always helps. That's great.
Look, that's more like an older body. That's better. But that's like paunchy belly, skinny legs, emaciated arms. I wish my arms were more emaciated. Alright, so here, now we did that. Now I want to, can I get out of the character generator? How the hell do I get out of it? Let's press escape. No. Oh. There. That brought me back to the original head, of which there is no texture mapping. Yeah, but there you see the preset. So I can't show you texture because it's going to be too boring to search for it. But what I would like to do, let me just look one more time and see if there's magically a file that I didn't destroy. I think she's called Medusa 2. Let's try this. I'm going to save as because I destroyed the other one, right? So, yeah. So, projection map. What is it? Projection map 5. Because that gives me backup. And this, the other one, Maya Binary, is the minor. Mostly I'm working in ASCII, which is the extension, which is more stable. There's several different kinds. Binary is good for, I'm not sure what it's good for, but for ASCII, you can actually go into the code and fix things when it's broken. Alright, so here we do that. So this is good. We got a projection map. And what this means is I took the movie. So that's the light. I had a light shining on it. And then I want to show you how we get to the movie. So here is my relatively reduced head that you saw before. And it has a bottom on it because I'm always thinking maybe I will make a sculpture out of that. You know, and as you see, you cannot remember how you did it, and you know,
right.
Going there, if you're working in this kind of intuitive, expressive way, it is not that systemic, and you basically can't recreate anything, even if you have the tools. So what I did was, here, right mouse button, I asked for the material attributes. And what I did is, I used the tool, which is this thing. It's called a projector. And a projector is a projector. And it's called 3D texture projector. And here, I'm going to show you something because this will be interesting. Windows, here's my texturing. It's called rendering editors. Things that make textures or the final product is called rendering when you turn it into a movie. And this is my texture editor. And here is, this is the texture that I made. If you want to see, this is what I mean. It takes 20 years to think this is natural. And then I use a certain kind of material that I know is friendly to what I'm doing, but it doesn't really worth explaining. And I made a little movie with my go ahead. I made a little movie with my camera, and I took that movie and turned it into a series of JPEGs instead of a movie.
Okay.
And I did that in um, After Effects probably, and then I colorized it into a sepia color tone. And then I took that sequence and I put it in a place. That's why you have to be in the it has to, the computer has to know where it is to find this, and there it is. So I made a series. Here it is as a PNG, and then the computer turns it into a particular texture format that it needs to render. Okay. So this is the little movie that I made, right?
Okay.
Of me now. And I took it and colorized it in another software. And I brought it in. And the other thing you can do with this is let's zoom into it because I think we can instantly see it, which is sort of interesting. Like I can give the texture different exposure because it makes a fake camera. The way I project things is I have a projector that has a shape, and that projector is given control as if it's a camera.
Okay.
A digital camera. So that I can actually change the exposure level on the camera.
Yeah.
Right? Low exposure.
And will just Medusa's eyes open as well, or will they stay shut?
It plays the movie. And now let me show you what that means. Because that's also fascinating. So it's a little movie I made. And the little movie runs through this projector. And this projector in my menu, here we see, this is the 3D projection node, but forget what that means. Here's the little node, which is the projector. It's made a flat projector. That projector is located in a position and pointed to look in a certain way. If I move the projector, it won't fit in the way I want it. So there's the projector, and I get my translation tool here. And if you notice, as I move the projector, it projects from a different point. And I wanted it to fit on the face in a certain way. Right? So I found the spot, which I'm now going to present undo, so it goes back, which was there. If I scale that projection, it will also fit in a different way. And this is how you make expression. Like I thought, oh, Tony Osler grotesque.
Right.
But I could also just give it a mouth and make the mouth up there. I wanted the mouth to be relative. If I make it too small, it starts repeating the texture, which could be interesting, but not what I wanted. What I wanted was to make it a size so that the mouth was somehow related to the mouth, but you could still see. That's not a bad position also. Right, the mouth is up there, the nose, so you can see the face more. Maybe I should have done this, it's better. But I didn't. Oh, I should have done that. I like it better. I did that because I wanted, I did do sort of that. Yeah, I wanted to be able to see the face underneath.
Yeah.
But the other face, and I wanted to relatively fit. And then I want to show you another thing about projectors, which is fascinating. So you start to learn, you know, my ability to manipulate where and know that it does all that. I just do automatically. I don't have to think of it. And that's why most of the tech art, most people in the art world don't like, because there isn't this mistake, improvisation, like they're following the rules more, and there's no expression in perfectly executed. Like who's to say what's perfect?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, you think that perfect has to do with looking like a Tony Osler sculpture? They don't even the software designers never heard of Tony Osler. You know what I mean? So they have a right way of doing things, which has to do with hyperrealism. So if I go back, which has to do with hyper-realistic whatever. So here's my projector. Fit to box means fit exactly on this piece of geometry. So here, I'm going to make it into a cylindrical projection to wrap around the head. So it just did something very different. And it looks kind of good there too. But and if I say fit to this piece of geometry, it's just, that sort of looks good too, but it's like totally different. And I can move it right? I can close it.
Would you would you exhibit both the older one and the newer one at the same time?
I would love to.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, I think it's totally cool to do that, right?
Yeah.
So now we did that, all right? When I render it, it makes frame by frame image. Like to make this short glitch of this short animation loop, it was 922 frames. And so it makes each frame as it moves along the timeline, right? I animated the head so it looked like it was bobbing around. Let's see, how did I do that?
Sort of like the original.
Yep.
Yep.
Right? Here's the young head. Right, make it like the original. But I did it slightly different because the young head was just going up and down.
Yeah.
Now, why did I do that different? The young head was just bobbing up and down. But this head has no neck. It's funny that these tiny things make a difference.
Oh, yeah.
So when I just made it go up and down, it didn't look right.
Right.
Whatever that means, you know? And I realized, oh yeah, of course it's round. It's got to roll around a little. So I actually, there you see the keys that I set on it. So I set keys on, I made the base of the head the rotation point, the bottom of the curved bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And then I rotated it slightly. I moved it up and down a little on the XYZ, and I rotated it around on the Z, and I set keys so that over time it moved both rocking and up and down and forward and back.
Okay.
Right, so I did that. Alright, so now I want to show one last thing, which is about augmented reality. And that should be fascinating. Then we should take a break again, right, Kelly? You think?
Yeah, we can do that.
We'll go back